Imagine war, famine, corruption, casualties, and amongst all the negativity, somewhere in the middle lied beauty. There is beauty in the struggle, and that is exactly what represents the Salvadoran culture. I am a second generation Salvadoran, and I've learned many things about the culture from my family. Both my parents and the rest of my family were born in El Salvador and come from a time of civil war, and though the times were very tough, their love for their roots had prospered. Today I'd like to present to you a few artifacts that I brought with me, which in my opinion are physical manifestations stemming from the country's values, traditions, and way of life. The first thing I'd like to present to you is a toy known as a capirucho in El Salvador. These have been very common for a long time, and it's a very simple concept made of simply wood and string. The next thing I'd like to present to you is the nation's flag, with its beautiful cobalt blue, white stripe, and coat of arms in the middle, holding the nation's motto right underneath it. And the last thing I'd like to present today is this machete holster, used by many hard working class men to work the fields and provide for their families. See, the Salvadoran culture is one of a small nation which values its creativity, its pride, its family, and above all, hard work. These artifacts each strongly represent the culture of El Salvador, and while they may seem simple at first glance, each can tell you a story about the country and why it's associated with it. I chose this culture because not only do I identify with it, but I'm passionate about learning about my roots, as well as trying to understand where I come from, the pain, the love, the misfortune, and above all, the beauty. I want to know as much as possible about every aspect of where I come from, and take the opportunities to share with you what I know. Within these artifacts, you can see what the Salvadoran people value. For instance, this capirucho, they value their creativity because with the limited resources that the country faces, because of its constant struggles, they need their creativity to entertain them, to keep them pushing through the country's struggles and hard times. This is a simple ball in a cup. The way it's used is essentially challenge yourself to not drop the ball out of the cup and do your best to continuously keep going. It's competitive sometimes amongst people and very entertaining and very distracting. The next thing that represents them is their pride, their history. A lot of flags can be found in Salvadoran households over here in the States as well. And, the flag itself has a lot of meaning behind the nation's motto. This cobalt blue stands for the skies and the nation's surrounding seas. This white stripe stands for peace in the world. And then you have the 5 indigenous spears stemming from the roots of the country over here. And right beneath that is the nation's motto, which is Dios, Unión, and Libertad, meaning God, union, and liberty. And this machete holster represents the nation's hard work. Many men work at a very young age, like my father, who started working at 6 years old, cutting coffee branches, cutting corn, working the fields, gardening, so that they could provide for the rest of their families. Most of the country is hard-working class men, and you can see many people with a machete holster and a machete tied around their waist going to work out in the fields to get food. These are some values that are represented amongst these artifacts today. And alongside the values, they have their traditions. There is the Semana Santa, which is the Holy Week, and Independence Day, which are two of the biggest traditions honored. Traditionally, for Holy Week, throughout the week, folks would gather in churches for the beginning of the week. And Thursday and Friday would be the most holiest of days where people refuse to do any work for the death of Jesus. On Wednesday, they prepare all their essentials, including food, so that they wouldn't have to cook on either Thursday or Friday as well. When Saturday comes along, it is the most celebratory. People party, go to beaches, lakes, parks, play music, dance, drink, etc. Independence Day is also very important. Traditionally, for this holiday, schools throughout the country enjoy parades with band music and flag waving for pride. In Los Angeles, at the MacArthur Park between Wilshire and Alvarado, Independence Day is celebrated as well by Salvadorans. It is celebrated with carnivals, food, live music, and other festivities. I have been a part of these for as long as I can remember, and each time I'm a part of it, I enjoy myself. For these reasons, I identify with the culture because it's in my blood and in my DNA. The culture is in my language and it's in my taste, and it forms the way I see life. It is expressed in my pride and appreciated amongst my people. The Salvadoran culture represents family, or mara as they call it, pride, creativity, hard work, faith. And in each of these artifacts that I've shown today, we can see physical manifestations stemming from these qualities. Once again, it is the hard work, the creativity, and the family and the pride of the history of the country that is displayed in front of you today. Thank you.